if you are a DJ making music, test your music out. I don't think you're going to get any better feedback than playing something out on a dance floor. And I mean that from a point of view that you're going to learn a lot. If it clears a dance floor, you're going to ask, why did it clear a dance floor?
On my YouTube channel, there is a series called 5 Things Producers Need to Know. I love this series. It basically just kind of, you just tell your younger self or, you know, rising artists that want to have a similar journeys to you, some ideas that you might help them along that way, you know? And we've had some great people on the series. Like we've had David Guetta on the series, we've had Camel Fat on the series, we've had Andy C on the series. Like it's across all genres. So I'm excited when we get new producers in. So let's start. Number 1, what is your 5 things that producers need to know? Just
during that audio, typed a few things down.
Nice.
Yeah, very, very much going off the back of what you said about, you know, maybe talking to a younger me and thinking, you know, what could I have done better? What might have helped out? I think the first thing that came to mind was like knowing and understanding your studio space and your monitors in terms of acoustically how your room sounds, because fundamentally you can learn every trick under the sun, but if you don't know how your room sounds, it's not going to transpire when you go out that room and play that track in the club. You know, you kind of need to know the fundamentals of how the acoustics in your room. So the easiest way to do that, I was found, was referencing other people's tracks that were already mastered and mixed and hear and listen to how they sound in your room. So for example, you could have, you know, amazing monitors, but if your room is super bassy, when you make a bass line, you're going to go, oh, that's too bassy, and you're going to turn it down. So when you take it to a club, you might play it and they'll be like, well, there's no bass because you've turned it down so much, just because your room made it sound very bassy. So if you listen to another track and hear how loud that bass sounds and kind of do a balance similar, you'll learn how your room sound. You'll learn the acoustics of it. And I think that for anyone that's looking to send stuff out and wants it to sound as real as it does in their room, that's probably a good suggestion.
That's really cool.
I still do it, you know.
We never had that one. That's really cool. We had someone from Adam Audio on my stream once, and I was like, "How can we improve my room?" And they were like,
"The acoustics, yeah."
they were like, "Move inside."
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember that, like, it's very easy to think, and any company making money will, you know, say, oh, you need this to make your room sound better, or you need these speakers to make your music production sound better. It's very, very true. You can get to a great level with these things, but if your room sounds crap or you don't understand how your room sounds, it's your ear tuning to that, right? Like, I've got some nice acoustic paneling in here, as you can see, and I've got it all over the walls, but by putting them in this room, it probably took me another 6 months to then get used to how the room sounded with those in it. And it's the same every time I've upgraded my monitors. I've bought better monitors because I know in the long run it will make it better. But everything I've made usually it's a lead time of about 6 months for me to let my ears adjust to something new in the studio. So yeah, I think if you can understand your space, it's very important.
That's mad, and then that's so mental. Like, giving it 6 months to get your ears. Like, all those people are thinking are rushing it and kind of they want tracks signed right now, and it's like you've got to get used. That's mental. I love this.
Yeah,
one. It's really good.
And also, you know, on that reference point, if you know, using different sources is also super important. Like, you know, everyone says about the car test. You know, like when you made a track, play it in the car. Most things sound great in the car. It's well insulated. You know, and high car systems are tuned very well to pick up bass, high frequency. You know, they are good sources of testing material. And I just find if you then reference on the car, if it sounds really bassy in the car, maybe turn it down a bit, then reference on Apple headphones or studio headphones. And if you reference between 3 or 4 different things, you're going to get an overall going, okay, the bass isn't coming through on anything, but in my studio it sounds really loud. You obviously need to then turn it up in your studio because every other reference point is saying there's no bass there. So yeah, a varied kind of variety of methods.
Yeah, I was wondering whether the Apple headphones have replaced the car test now because so many people listen on just their phone. And
yeah, it's usually the first thing I do. Like if I've made a track, you know, I'll listen to it in the car on the way home, and then the next morning when I go to the gym or go for a run, straight in with my Apple AirPods, and you know straight away whether it's a good sound, a rubbish sound, or where it might need tweaking.
Okay, that was a solid number 1. I love that. Number 2.
Number 2, I have got don't be afraid to experiment. And this is more, I think, for very, very, well, yeah, early on at the start, because I feel when I've taught people, I seem to get this common thing of like, they're chasing a sound, right? So chasing a sound, you're never going to be ahead of anything. You're always just going to be chasing that one sound. And if you experiment more and leave yourself open to experimentation, you're more likely to create your own sound. Over time, you might, you're going to make some rubbish. I definitely made rubbish when I'm experimenting, but you might make 4 different tracks and all of them are crap, but there might be one sound in there that you really like. It could even be just a bass, preset that you found, and that seems to be something that really works for you. That might become your bass sound. Or same with like the drums that you're making. If you're experimenting with loads of different style drums, you might notice that this clap works really well in all of the tracks, but nothing else in the track works well, and then you can kind of go, okay, that might be in my clap, and slowly you'll piece things together that creates sonically something that works but will be more unique to you, rather than just always going, well, I want the hats to sound like it does in that track, or the hats, eventually. So experimenting is key, I think, to creating your own sound, because otherwise you're just replicating what everyone else is doing. I think in this day and age, you've got to do something a little bit different.
It's great. I agree. Number 3.
YouTube is gold. That's what I've put. I think in this day and age, there is no excuse not to know anything, because you can YouTube it. And I'm talking mixing, learning a synth, whatever it may be, it's on YouTube.
I solidly agree.
I don't think there's any excuses really, because when I started, I was going to college, and YouTube wasn't even really that much of a thing. You could, or it might have been, but the knowledge, or these, particularly with, let's say this, you could say deep house or minimal house, you could subcategorize every genre now and find something specific to that genre. Whereas 10 years ago, if you typed in, I want to make a house bass, you just probably get one YouTube video of someone playing a house bass. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now you can refine your searches. So I think if you can put in the time, you don't necessarily have to go and do a course. You don't have to. You can, if you put in the hours, practice and YouTube, you can pretty much learn up all you need to know, I think.
I agree. And if you're struggling with social media marketing and Instagram, go to my YouTube channel, because there's loads of that on there for you.
Good plug.
Thanks for that. CEO said, God bless Idiom Tips. Yeah, he's a mate. Go and check out Idiom Tips as well, because he makes some great YouTube videos as well.
Nice.
So once you finish watching all my YouTube videos, where are we up to? Number 4.
Number 4. I've written down, make sure everything has a purpose. And I'm kind of doing this from I'd say a deep house, more minimal style perspective, that, a lot of the time when I get sent music, I feel like people just throw stuff in there to fill a track out. And again, I'm talking more people that are early on trying to, learn the craft of making music. And 9 times out of 10, the track sounds bare, so they're just throwing stuff at it to fill the spot, but not necessarily questioning 100%, does this sound need to be there, and what is its purpose? Because you've got your fundamentals, right? You've got a kick, a bass, a hi-hat, and a clap. It's got the potential to make a great track just with those things there. But if it's not the right hi-hat, or if it's not the right clap, they might not work, and there's going to have the same impact. So kind of question, I would say, when you are making stuff, how well is that kick working? How well is that clap working? How much is that hi-hat driving the track? If you need more energy in the track and you're not sure why it's not energetic, maybe you need to change the hi-hat. So just questioning the sounds and just making sure each of them has a purpose. And I think that's quite important for the deeper side of, or the more underground stripped back stuff.
Solid. I love that. I had to bite my tongue then. I was like, and how much is that dog in the window? But I love that though. So I agree with you, because when we're getting these demos in for our feedback session, I was like, and you sometimes think, where is that sound coming from? And sometimes the other one is it's missing sounds and missing kind of extra little sounds to give it that oomph as well. Like
yeah.
Right, number 5.
Number 5. Number 5, I have put, if you are a DJ making music, test your music out. I don't think you're going to get any better feedback than playing something out on a dance floor. And I mean that from a point of view that you're going to learn a lot. If it clears a dance floor, you're going to ask, why did it clear a dance floor? I'm not necessarily encouraging people to clear dance floors, but I'm just saying when you get to a certain point, you need to start playing it. And I was so guilty for so long of just not playing my music, purely because I just always felt other people's music was better. And there was always other tracks that I would much rather play. And then it wasn't really until I started playing my stuff out, realizing that's why people have booked me, because they want to hear my music. And then seeing the reactions, you're like, okay, actually, yeah, people do like this stuff. So as a confidence thing in your own productions, I feel like, you know, it's great confidence getting stuff signed to a label, right? And it's great confidence seeing feedback from DJs and stuff, but there's no better feedback than playing something yourself and seeing it work on a dance floor. But also from a learning point of view, you might, again, drawing back into number 1, if you are actively playing, it will also be a great way to reference how your tracks are sounding out. You know, you can't rely on other DJs to play it out and then give you feedback, unless they're your personal friend and you said, hey mate, can you test this out and let me know how it sounds, which I also do now. But playing it yourself, you're just going to know how your sound is working.
I bet that must also help when you're collaborating with someone as well, because then you've got 2 people that can test it out and 2 people that might have gigs or
100%. Yeah. 2 different options for social media videos.
Yes, 100%. And I guess I was leaning into that. If you're not playing your own stuff out, then who is? I guess because you've got to lead from the front as well.
Yeah, and you know, I openly admit that I, even to this day, still don't play. You know, some people will play out and they'll play 5, 6 of their tracks. I might play 1 in a 2-hour set. If I'm playing longer, I'll play more. That's not because I don't want to play mine. I just feel like there's so much music out there, you know, and I, for my view of a DJ has always been to play music that people don't know. Because for me, that's what I've loved as a raver, going out and being like, what the fuck is this tune? Like, you know, and then searching for it and finding it. So, you know, I'm more likely playing unreleased tracks of mine when I play out to test them and to see how they go out, but without being just obviously playing all my own stuff, because, you know, I think people have potentially heard them already. So let's just pump them with something that's new. And
I guess that's the joy of having a label as well, because you can play your unreleased label stuff as well to see how that sounds as well. And that kind of gives you a wider set as well.
Yeah. I'm not usually one to kind of, you know, occasionally I'll say, I want this tune right away. But most of the time I will be saying, you know, really like the sound of these. Give me a couple of weeks so I can play them on the radio, play them at a few gigs and just get a feel for them. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing having a label to test stuff out as well. I should just say one thing. I just thought of one other point. I know I was only allowed 5.
No, you could have a Brucey bonus.
Like a bonus one was.
Get in the chat. Get the Bruceys out. Get the Bruceys out. Get the chat gang.
I was just gonna say, like, collaborate. The amount you can learn from working with other people, like just hands on in the studio, and even if, you know, there's no hardware, I'm just talking about working on tunes with other people. It's similar to the YouTube thing, right? Like you can Google anything there, but just working with other people, you fundamentally, you might know a lot of the same things, but the way someone does something different, and, you know, it's how you all learn, right? Just from seeing other people do it. But yeah, collaborating has been played a huge part for me in like my productions. And it's also just fun. It takes away, you know, that whole solo effort of making a track. If you are struggling, just go and have fun with someone in the studio, and, you know, chances are, you know, you'll get something good from it if there's good energies floating around.
That's great. That was an epic Brucey bonus. Well, thank you for your 5 things. That's so epic. I love those. That was really good.
Thank you.
Watch this video next for more tips for DJs and producers, and consider subscribing so you get these videos first. I have been Graham Farmer, and thanks for tuning in this week. See you next week. Bye-bye.